Nothing lasts forever.
Welcome to Journeys in Focus, where every path tells a story. I'm Brendan, your host, and together we'll explore the journeys that shape our lives and bring our world into focus. Adjust that focus, come along on the journey. Welcome back to another episode of Journeys in Focus. Today we're here with Victoria Rose. Thank you for coming on today. First, we kind of met freshman year in college. And through that time, I think a lot has changed between the both of us. And what really kind of has started you on this new journey that you're kind of focusing on right now?
Yeah, so I'm definitely starting out my entrepreneurial journey, moving towards digital marketing. I did get my degree in advertising. When you met me, I was studying environmental sciences. So a lot has changed. Still, I'm a lifelong learner, always developing what I want to do next. And now I'm moving into more like mindset, motivational, speaking, content, trying to just like empower women.
Coming from North Carolina, what kind of made you set, maybe as of right now, New York City as being the place to kind of start this new journey of mindfulness and empowerment?
Okay, so context about North Carolina. So I grew up in a military family. So I was born in Louisiana. I've lived in Alaska. I graduated high school in Germany. I've lived upstate New York. And my family is from the Bronx, my mom and my dad. So I still have family in New York.
Okay.
So context of ending up in New York, I was like, I have to go back to America because I was graduating school in Germany. So I was like, I have to go to college and then I have to go back to America. Because I didn't want to go to school in Germany because my family was going to leave in the next year. And then I would have just been out there. Mm-hmm. And I had no idea where my family was going to get stationed next.
Got it.
So I go to New York because I have family here.
Got it.
And I went to St. John's because I didn't have to write an essay. So.
Hey, sometimes it's the easiest way to...
Yeah, I definitely was not... Growing up my entire life, I was an overachiever. I did every extracurricular on top of my grades. My senior year, I really fell off and I was drinking a lot. I was partying a lot. I was caring about way too much about what people think. I think that senior year really is kind of like where my story goes into what I'm doing now with mindfulness, and I'm really religious now. I do believe in God and I have a really strong faith. But because of that, I came to New York, went to St. John's. I don't know why I chose environmental sustainability. I was vegan at the time. I was vegan for 9 years. And just recently, a couple months ago, I started eating fish and dairy. So I still don't eat meat, but I'm pescatarian. Mm-hmm. And I think it's always been important to me to have discipline in some sort of aspect of life. So I think food was always that for me. And now I'm moving into I want to start going to the gym and working out more. But also my faith is also a discipline and practicing that every day.
Okay.
Lots of context.
Hey, it seems like what you've been doing on social media is definitely getting attention from a lot of people, and people are interacting with your content and enjoying what they're seeing, whether it's just going on it and just seeing what you post for the day. That kind of helps them move along in their day or give them something to think about to improve in their life. It definitely seems like that's the approach that you've been taking. But do you feel like there's something that has motivated you to kind of go down that line and help motivate others?
Yes, and I think New York specifically is a big place that needs it and where it is pertinent, because a lot of people feel like they're on their own, and a lot of people have that mentality of everybody's out to get me. I have to move in a certain way. Don't tell people what you're doing, or just very guarded. So I think what I do with my platform, and Honestly, it's only been like 2 or 3 months that I've like really changed the way I'm posting and what I'm changing my account to like actually be like productive and positive. And I've been getting a lot of messages from people just being like, I love the direction. But also with the good messages, like there have been bad. Some people will be like, oh, well, this video only got 20 likes. So why are you posting every day? That's actually bad for the algorithm. And I'm like, actually posting every day, like, I actually like 10 times my reach. So I really don't listen. I listen to the negative things and then I just know who I want to be around. Because some people will be like, I see what you're doing, you need to be doing more of it. Because I have friends that are like, yeah, before you were posting, you were like that pretty girl on Instagram. Like, oh, we get it. Like, you're another pretty girl on Instagram. And then after that, I started posting different. And now they're like, yeah, you're like actually making content. You're like a content creator now. Like, you're completely changed it. Like, I could totally see you being a motivational speaker. I could see you doing brand deals. I could see you having a group of women that just like get together and talk about your goals. So that's kind of where I'm headed. But yeah, New York.
Do you feel like the people that have been reaching out to you, whether it's from the positive side or the negative side, do you know them, or are they just random people just messaging you?
It's definitely people that I know.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't really gotten into the space of like random people telling me what I should and shouldn't be doing. And it is interesting because like it is people like I know, but it's not people that I'm like super close with or like I talk to them all the time. A lot of the good things do come from people that I am close with. Like even my dad was like, "Oh yeah, I've been seeing your content and I don't know if I should comment on it, but I like it." And I'm like, "No, it's good for the algorithm, comment." I'm like, "Please."
Now, do you feel as though the negative messages that you have been receiving are helping you in a way to keep pushing forward and put out more stuff to help people, or does it kind of like get to you in a sense where it's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this anymore?
I think it definitely motivates me and gets to me at the same time, and it doesn't make me want to stop. It makes me want to get better. But in the context of it being social media, I could see why people would say that, especially because I'm still trying to figure out exactly what it is. And all of these things work, like the posting every day, like doing outreach, like all the techniques work when you have a clear message, when you know exactly what you're doing and exactly what you want, you can get there much faster. With the negative comments and feedback, it's more so motivating in the sense like, how can I not prove them wrong, but like, how can I get better? So it's because I kind of ignore it too. I kind of push the negativity back, because when you feed into the negative things and like give it too much energy, like you get more of it. So if I internalize it and I'm like, this person said I only get this and then nothing, and I don't change anything, like that's kind of crazy to do that. But if I'm like hearing what they say and I'm like, okay, you're saying that I'm not getting whatever results, what do I need to be doing to not get those results? Because at the end of the day, I do have goals that would get me better results. And then I'm like, okay, I can make better content. I can get better videos. I can have a better hook. I can do more outreach. I can talk to more people. I could develop my message more. And then, so I kind of just like take it, and then I can't hold on to it though. Like I either choose to like change something and then move forward, or I have to just leave it, if that makes sense. Yeah.
So do you feel like how you're going about it every day kind of is building your confidence level to give more of an output and find different ways to potentially like help others, and like with that confidence, not only helping yourself, it could also carry over to somebody else in a sense of like, if they see you were doing this on social media and now you're doing this, look how different like her approach is. Now, do you feel like carry over to them and make them pursue something that they may have thought that I didn't have enough confidence to do this in?
Yeah, especially because I'm specifically posting on Instagram.
Okay.
I used to post on TikTok, but TikTok, you don't really get community. You can get views, you can get engagement, you can like get hype, but you're not going to find that your followers see your post all the time. On Instagram, it's like if somebody follows you, it's because they want to see more of your content and they will follow up and they are going to be there. So when it comes to confidence, like TikTok, I think people will post anything. Like they'll be in their car, they'll go here, 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 whatever, post random things, it'll blow up. It's super anonymous too. On Instagram, everybody's so focused on showing up as their best self. They use their own name. Like my Instagram is my full name, Victoria Rose Vargas. Like on Instagram, you show up as yourself. So a lot of people are just scared to post because like that's your digital community. You're online. Everybody you know in real life is following you on Instagram at most of the time. So I think me posting what I post to literally my family, my friends, people I go to high school, college with, people that have known me my entire life, people who knew me like for a couple hours, they all see it. So it's completely different level, I think, in my opinion, of like, it's not even like confidence at that point. It's just like courage to just know what you want to do and then try, because you can't get anywhere if you don't try, and then you can't, like, nothing changes if nothing changes. So how am I supposed to be like, yeah, I want to be an influencer. Yeah, I want to like be a travel influencer. I want to do this. I want to make money in social media. I want to build a business. And then you don't make the steps to actually get there, or like put yourself out there to see what people want. Because even if you're like creating a product and you want to build a business around a product, you can put the most beautiful product together and then launch it, and then still nobody will buy it. That's why people will test things. They'll put it on Twitter. Is this interesting? And then you build the hype for this thing that doesn't exist. And then if the hype is there, then you're like, okay, now we got to make it. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Now, when you're kind of planning on what you're going to post, does it just naturally come to you? Do you have to do like a lot of research into it? Are you looking at other people's like platforms in a sense to get ideas off of? Or are you kind of just, everything is just natural and kind of you wake up one day and it's like, you know, I feel like this is a good thing to post. Why not put this out?
I think if anybody who wants to start getting into content creation, I think they should start just like when they want to think of something or want to post something, to do it that way, to see if they even actually like doing it every day. I work in marketing, so it's actually part of my job to just come up with ideas, make posts, get content, and run social media. So it's very like second nature to me, especially because I was doing TikTok and I was making videos every day, recording every day. With Instagram, I just batch content. So like I was out with my sister yesterday all day, and we had like 3 different outfits, going to different locations, getting all these videos. So like the next couple of weeks, you're going to see all those videos. But when it comes to like the ideas and everything behind it, I do have a coach as well. I have like a Reels coach. Okay. And then we have like this group of girls, and then we all like are in part of the Reels challenge. That's another reason why I'm able to like post so much. So like she had a content planner that I used for last month. And then based on that content calendar, I had like saved videos from like my feed that I liked. I would put those, and I saved them in the folder, you know, the regular folder on Instagram. Take those links, put them in the content calendar. So every day I have an idea of what I want to post. And if I get ideas in between, then I can add it to the calendar and then post it whenever it makes sense. Like there's never a shortage of ideas. Even if you're a writer, if you're on Twitter, if you're on YouTube, there's so many ideas that I think the biggest thing I'm trying to practice right now is like getting an idea into real life, because that's also a skill in itself that a lot of people just don't have. They can have all the ideas in the world, but like people need to be taking action.
So you spoke on how you have to try to get something done, and if you don't try, you may not get anywhere. How does that kind of take to you on don't hold back on anything? As you should always try it before you hold back from doing something, because you probably never assumed that you were going to be going down this current path that you're on, trying to spread mindfulness and motivation for others. So how does not holding back lead you to where you are today?
Yeah, I think that's also part of the mindset of, you know, in college, I was like, okay, I'm going to graduate and then I'm going to get a big corporate job and life is going to be fantastic and I'm going to have an apartment and I'm going to do all this. But while you're busy making plans, life is what's happening. Like, and your plans never turn out the way you think they will. And so when it comes to like not holding back. I think my favorite mantra, like my favorite thing to live by is like the way you do anything is the way you do everything. Like the way you clean your house. If you do it 100%, you're going to do everything else 100%. If you do it 50%, like how are you going to do your work? 100%. Like every little thing like adds up to be, because the way we do anything in life compounds. So life it never gets easier. Like you can only handle hard things better. And if you're able to compound like the effort you're able to give everything, you can, and especially when you add focus and discipline on top, you're just consistently winning. So like if you just have more wins than you have loses, then like you're going to get where you want to go, especially if you're just focused and then you give it 100%.
So giving 100%, it starts with your head, right? It comes back to your whole mindset on how you're going to approach things. So really, what does mindfulness really mean to you?
Yeah. And I also want to add, like, 100% isn't always, like, we're not always at 100%, but if you only have 30%, you can give all 30 of that percent, and that's still 100, in my opinion. So mindfulness, to me, I think it falls in line a lot with intuition. And I think mindfulness also ties into my faith a lot. And so what I do is mostly mindset. So the difference between like your mindset and being mindful is more so to say your mindset is more of how you're going to live your day-to-day life, and being mindful is like a constant practice. It's something that you have to like take into consideration, because we have our conscious mind and then we have our subconscious mind, and like only 10% of our mind is conscious. Everything else behind that is like what permeates your mind. Our first 30 minutes when we wake up and the last 30 minutes before we go to bed, we are the most impressionable. And guess what? Those are the times that we're on social media the most. So every time we're looking, everything we see, if we see something that's like, oh, this person's ugly, this person's this, blah, 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 drama, like news, politics, all this, for the first and last 30 minutes of your day, you're like poisoning your subconscious. Then you go out into the world and that's all you're going to see. So like if you spend your first 30 minutes meditating, if you spend your first 30 minutes reading a book that you want to get more information on, or doing something mindful, then that enters your subconscious and it changes your mindset. So when you enter that conscious space again, and like when you practice the mindfulness, that's where you're in your conscious, and then you can see everything and be like, okay, I can reasonably get to like positive conclusions on my own. Like,
now, do you think day to day should people have like routines that they follow upon? Like, sure, a routine may not be able to come across at that full capacity every single day, depending upon what's going on. But do you feel like you have a routine every day? And does that routine that you go about with like help you throughout your day?
So that's one thing that I am working on now, and I think it's going to be super impactful to what I'm doing, because I do want to even turn it into like a morning routine planner, or give some sort of freebie to everybody to just be like, look, this is how you can like start, like jumpstart like your transformation, basically. Because I think like that first hour of your day really determines the rest of your day. Like I even went to like this Hindu temple, and the gurus were just like, because I was trying to talk to them about like, you know, like anxiety or whatever. And yeah, their whole thing was like, you just need to do 15 minutes of meditation every morning. And like, because whatever you do in those 15 minutes, like if you can quiet your mind and be still, you're going to be able to think clearly for the rest of the day. If you wake up and the first thing you're doing is like, I have to do A, B, C, D, I have so many things I have to do, the rest of your day is going to feel like you have that anxiety. So if you start your day off right, the rest of your day is going to look like your morning. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to routines, I don't think anybody needs to follow some sort of very rigid, like cold plunge every morning, like run on top of the mountain every morning. But I think humans in general, we have a natural tendency to want routine and to want to be stable and comfortable, which is funny with the whole entrepreneurial side of things, because you need to be more able to take risk and put yourself out there and just like express yourself in ways that other people aren't able to. So when it comes to routines, I think finding a routine that just works for you and makes your day better is the best thing you can do. Because when it comes to like a nighttime routine, I think the only important thing at night is to plan for the day before or plan for the week before. Like they say, like a successful day starts the night before. A successful week starts on Sunday. So when I get home tonight, I'm just gonna be like, okay, what do I want my week to look like? And also one of my favorite things is they say if you write something down, you're 43% more likely to accomplish it. So if I just take that time to write things down and like even put it on a whiteboard that I can like see it, like I'm already setting myself up for success. Like if there was a 40% chance of me accomplishing it by not writing it down, I just bumped it up to 83 just by writing it down. And I also believe that like if you can think it and you can feel it and you can write it down, you can accomplish it. Like that's all it really takes is like you need to be able to like conceptualize it, and then if you feel it in your heart, like not your mind, like you have to be able to feel exactly what it would be like to be that kind of person you want to be in that situation you want to make it happen, you know?
Yeah, and it seems like back to your whole part with meditating in the morning when you get up, and how you're most vulnerable to seeing stuff throughout your day if you go on social media for the first 30 minutes or the last 30 minutes of your day before you're going to sleep. And I feel like now we're currently in this time where everyone wants to do something really fast and they have to slow down. And I feel like taking that whole meditation side to it really helps to get you to slow down and take your time and really look at like, okay, what are you going to do? But then go back to how you're writing down your list. And it's like, okay, even if there's only 2 things on that list that you want to get done, you're now taking a simpler approach to getting that stuff done because you slowed down rather than feeling like you're rushed and have to do this, have to do that. So do you feel like manifesting stuff is something that happens, or is it just kind of more of like a luck side of things? Like how somebody just randomly blows up on social media and becomes this infamous famous person overnight. Do you think that is something that they just manifested, or do you feel like it's luck in a sense as to anything could really happen?
I mean, anything can happen and all things are possible. I don't believe in luck though. I believe in God. Like, I think it's literally like anything that's, because they spoke about it in church today too. It's Sunday. um, so when I think about like luck, I really just think it's faith because I can pray. I pray so much. Like, I pray a lot. And whenever God, like I feel his miracles, like I've seen like his miracles happen, like I know they're real. I think everything is just tied by energy. So if you believe like in your heart that something is possible, if you believe like wholeheartedly that like things work out in your favor, that you attract abundance, that people treat you a certain way, or you have positive relationships in your life, like if you believe these things, then they become true. If you believe that the world is out to get you, like that is what's given to you. Like God gives you that. So when it comes to manifestation, I think a lot of people use their heads to manifest, and they need to use their hearts to manifest. So when it comes, like, manifestation isn't just doing affirmations every day and hoping something changes. I think manifestation is more like really understanding who you are and what you want, and then bringing your ideas into reality. Which goes back to my point of like, that's what I want to practice. I just want to practice whatever I think, making it real, like creating my thoughts.
Yeah, and how does that kind of translate to how we should go out every day and prioritize ourselves rather than prioritizing somebody before us? Because it really starts with you before you go and put it for somebody else, right?
I think there's times when you can prioritize others for sure. I feel like I prioritize others in certain aspects of my life. And I think I don't think you should think about things in the way of like getting things back either. Like if you give somebody something, if you prioritize others because you know they're going to prioritize you. I think relationships should be reciprocal, but like think I think there's seasons to be selfish, there's seasons to give, but you never really like get a lot of things in life if you're not giving in some sort of way. Like a lot of like billionaires, they'll have like certain like budgets for charity or like budgets for whatever. Like not even like considering like the like reasons for that. Like of course we know you can give to charity and do it as a tax write-off, but there are like charitable things that make you feel good. Like at the end of the day, like humans, you can only buy so much happiness, and then like there's a threshold of like, okay, I'm financially stable, now what do I do with my abundance? You're supposed to give it back. You don't have to like see a homeless person to give them money. You can donate to food pantries. You can like buy a bunch of bikes and give it to kids who don't have bikes. There's other ways to give back, and I think when people give back in a way that aligns with their values and their purpose in life, because I am big on the environment, I'm big on like animals and like stopping animal cruelty, making sure we are fixing deforestation, because we only have one planet, like, and we're just living on it. So, and God created this planet. So, like, every time I go out into nature, or every time I'm like immersed in nature, or I have to make time for nature, because that's when I feel like I'm closest to the universe, like when I'm closest to that energy, because like everything is like designed in a perfect way. And every human behavior we have is emulated in nature. There's a word for it too that like architects and like designers use. Like they design things and then you can always find that design in nature. So yeah, prioritizing others. I mean, we need community too. Like you always need certain communities to be in and people to, nobody got anywhere by themselves at the end of the day. So you can prioritize yourself to the extent that what you're prioritizing, that end goal does help others, you know?
Yeah. It seems like on your social media, there was a couple posts here and there that really dove into time, on how time is important and you can't go back in time. You have to stay within the time that you currently have, because you don't know what could happen tomorrow. You don't know what could happen in a couple seconds from now. Explain like your whole take on time and why it's so important to go out and do as much as you can do in a sense, but still not doing it as rushed or so fast, like taking your time and like pacing it in a sense, but having that time and using it to your full extent.
Yeah, I think this is a good question, because the world we live in, like our time is a commodity. People pay for our time. Like that's why social media still exists, because it started out fun, but now we're always being sold ads, and we know that. We know like everything's a sponsored post. We know that commercials still exist. This is why I studied advertising too, because I'm like, it's never going to go away. Like our time is so valuable, and people who own companies know that. They know our time is valuable. The only thing I think is more important than time is energy, because you can control your energy and you can get it back. You know you're going to lose your energy by the end of the day. You can, to an extent, control your energy. But like time, I don't even like looking at time as like a resource, because even when it comes to trading your time for money, like there's ways to make money without trading your time. We all know this. Like you can own a business, you can own property. You can be a manager instead, or you can like sell your ideas. You can get paid to be creative, which is basically what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to build social so I can be known as somebody who has good ideas and people listen to my ideas. And then when I have an audience, people are like, okay, maybe she's saying something important. But you could say something important and not have an audience as well. So when it comes to time, yeah, we have a very limited time on this earth. And then it also goes back to like not holding back. I think a lot of people are waiting for the right time to do something, and they think that there is a time and place for things in life. If you create the place, like you'll make the time. You make the time and you create the place. Like anything we want can be ours. Like I'm a full believer that if I want to go to Morocco, I can make it happen. Like everything, if I'm supposed to be somewhere, like God takes down the barriers. If I'm not supposed to be somewhere, like then there's going to be a lot of obstacles. And then it's really up to me if I want to go off of God's path to get through those obstacles, to get to the place that maybe I'm not supposed to be. So when it comes to time, like I think people value their time differently, because at the end of the day, like if you have a job, you are saying like, okay, my time is worth $12 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
My time is worth $50 an hour. My time is worth this. But if you're selling like a product, if you sell like a course, if you sell very specific things, like that's not really tied to your time. And then you can kind of buy your time back. And that's another thing a lot of rich people do. They'll be like, I need a driver so I don't have to waste my time driving. I need a chef so I don't have to waste my time cooking. And I don't think things like that are super accessible, but they are just things like to think about. Because one thing that I do even just in personal finance is like I just try to spend less on the things I don't want to spend money on. Like I'm not always home, so I'm not going to like spend a lot of money on rent because I don't really care too much about where I live. I want to go travel. So I'm going to spend more on like maintenance for my car to make sure it doesn't break down on me. Or I'm going to spend more on like, I don't know, what do I spend more on? Like food. I like going out to eat. So I like don't really have a grocery budget. I just like get breakfast items and then I'll go eat out with my friends. So it's also the same with time. Like if you think you're spending too much time at a job, you either need to save, start a business, buy your time back, or you need to build the lifestyle and then get a job that fits in with that lifestyle so you don't feel like you're wasting your time. Yeah.
Staying on the topic of time, are there really 3 words that you could describe time as that may have helped you realize like the importance of time, or that may even like show others that time is important through the 3 words?
Nothing lasts forever.
Hey, that's 3 words that works. And it's true. Nothing doesn't.
No. You could be on the top one day, bottom next day.
Yep. And it's even life. You were born, and you will pass eventually in life, and you never know when it could come. It could be tomorrow. Could be in a couple seconds, or it could be years from now. You don't know, and really cherishing that time is the best way to do it. Yeah. Whether you're cherishing it with others, just improving your life as yourself, and kind of just going about every day as you want to live your life, and basically be who you want to be.
Yeah.
In the end.
Yeah, I think a lot of people struggle kind of with their own mortality of like, okay, like when we're in high school, we think we're going to live forever. But honestly, I think a new trend, not like trend in a fancy way, but just like pattern observations, is like we see a lot of high schoolers that don't even see a future for themselves. And then they end up going to college and now they're like, oh shit, like, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? And now they think they have the rest of their lives. And now they experience this freedom. And then the life expectancy of people is getting larger. Like 50 years ago, people were dead when they were 40. Now it's very likely a lot of us will see 100. It's like super likely. And I mean, we're not guaranteed those days, but it is something that we're going to have multiple lifetimes. Like even if you're like a millionaire in your 20s, you might not be when you're in your 50s. If you're broke all the way up till 50, you can still in 2 years get that million and then be chilling till you're 100. So I don't think people should like plan their entire life out either, because there's just so much uncertainty. But finding that alignment where you're just happy is like more valuable than like anything else. So.
It's like the whole reason of starting the podcast. It's Journeys in Focus is not just about your journey, but it's finding that focus and what brings you to a whole. in the end, from how I started to getting over those obstacles to now being here, and kind of doing things as I want to do it and be the entrepreneur I want to become, and grow business and do what I have to do. That focus part is there, but not everyone's comes as soon as possible. And sure, I wouldn't say mine is 100% focused on one thing and it's there completely, but there's always going to be room for that growth, and that change will always come because you're always learning something new every day. Whether you walk out on the street right now and you go to talk to somebody, they may give you something that you didn't expect from them. And those words that they told you could be that change to spark something new in your life. So really, that's kind of getting into the next part of back to how you started in the beginning on talking about percentages. How 30% is still that 100%, even if all you have left is 30, right?
Yeah.
Why that whole like notion of whether it's 1% and that's all you have left to give, or it's 90% that you have left? Why take that route of thinking in that way?
Yeah, I think that ties back into the faith too, because if God knows I'm only at 1% and I still give that 1% to something specific or whatever I'm focusing on, or even if I give that 1% to somebody else, like it will come back. Like your energy is always going to fluctuate. Like I know I'm not going to always be at I'm not going to be at this 1% the rest of my life. Let me just give it because I can and I want this. And then tomorrow's a new day.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it is an important notion to realize, because there is so few moments where you're at 100%. And when you want to be at 100%, you can prepare all week and be like, I'm going to go to sleep at this time. I'm going to make sure I don't drink. I'm going to make sure I eat right and do this. So I'm ready for this exact moment. Anything could happen. You could wake up and then lose your voice when you need to do a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So you just always have to be prepared. And then even when you're in the like habit of giving 100% when you're not at 100%, when you are at 100%, everybody's going to look at you like you're a superhero, like you're giving 500%, because you're just so ingrained to do everything the way you do anything. So yeah.
And going back to how you mentioned prayer is important and how you do it every day, if not almost every day. And you're hearing the answers from God himself. Do you feel like those are coming to you in different signs? And when you see those signs, does it make you stop and be like, wow, he answered this and is telling me that this is the direction I have to go for? Or are they kind of just like feelings that you're receiving as you go about in your day?
I think that's an interesting question, because I think signs are also different than like just talking to God and understanding him and like your relationship with God. Because a lot of the times, like if I'm in a habit of like praying more frequently, like if I'm praying a lot, like I'm not seeing signs as much. But if I haven't been praying frequently, that's when I start to see the signs, because it's almost like a sign to just get back to God, you know, like, because he misses us. He did die for our sins. But so I think a lot of people pray for signs, or like look for signs to like give them an option, like tell them what to do with their lives. But that's not the way you're supposed to live life. You're supposed to live life in the moment. Like if you look at it as a timeline and you have the future, you have the past, and then you have the present. Like you can only be with God in the present moment. Like you have to talk to him, and then you're on that like spectrum. And then, because if you worry about the past, like it's not like we worry about the past.
Mm-hmm.
You can reminisce on the past. You can have good feelings about the past. But most of the time, if we're like sitting and we're thinking and then the past comes up, we usually don't have a lot of like, sometimes a lot of people like have worry or like fear of like, wow, like that was a bad time and we can go down this whole spiral. So we have to come back to the present moment. And then we also worry about the future. We're like, what's going to happen? Am I going to pay whatever bills. Like, is this going to happen? Am I get this opportunity? But you just have to come back to the present. So, I mean, you could be excited for the future as well. But when it comes to like looking for signs, I don't like ask God to give me signs like down the line or whatever. I'll just, if I need something from God, like, yeah, I can only ask for his wisdom. I can't ask for him to do something for me or like make something appear. But God loves to give you what you want. Like, if you've followed your own morals and like you've stuck with what you believe in and like follow your values, like God is more than willing to give you abundance and give you all the treasures and glory in the world. Like, it is totally possible. But he just really wants us to understand. Yeah. Like, we just want to understand people. We want to understand the world around us. And if we just like seek wisdom and knowledge and share wisdom and knowledge and, create communities where people can just like feel love and abundance, that's the way God works. So. Yeah,
exactly. And really, to kind of wrap everything up, what do you think that, is there something you want to say that could potentially be that like next motivation factor for somebody to go out and do something that they may have been searching for?
I would just say, if they go to sleep at night and they're like, and their last thought is just like, I wish I spent my day doing something else, or I'd rather have done this, or like, I really want to do this thing, but I have to do something else. Like, just do the thing. Do what you got to do the thing, if there's steps before that. But if there's something you really want, like if you really want to start a business, there's never going to be a right time. If you really want to like own a home, there's never going to be a right time. If you want to like get a new PlayStation, like, who knows? Like, whatever people want in life, I feel like there's always a way to get what you want. And as long as you're not hurting anybody in the process, or if nobody like is like negatively affected by what you want, I think people should just take advantage of the time they have.
Well said. Victoria Rose, I want to thank you for coming on the podcast. It was great. Everyone's going to definitely agree with a lot of the stuff that you were saying, and hopefully they find inspiration on that with their journey to move along and find that focus that they're looking for. So thank you again. Hey, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Journeys in Focus. After today's episode, I hope you're feeling inspired and ready to explore your own journey on a more deeper level. Like always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and share the podcast as well. Follow us on social media for updates, behind the scenes content, and much more. Until next time, adjust your focus and come along on the journey.